Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Yesterday we discussed the KSI and IShowSpeed sparring footage where KSI and the famous Twitch streamer had a spar for charity. Now what we found out about that spar is they put it on at the exact same time as Jake Paul's fight on the weekend, and I suppose they personally done it to show that they can pull in more viewers than Jake Paul can for his fight. Well, my friends, Jake Paul has responded to this, and he gets into a bit of a back and forth debate with Logan Paul. And by now, if you don't know, Logan Paul and KSI are in business together. KSI and Jake Paul are mortal enemies. So first off, just the setup's crazy. The fact that Jake Paul's own brother is in business with his own arch nemesis. KSI has been very vocal about not liking Jake Paul and also discrediting his work. Here on this channel, we've accepted the, look, Jake Paul's putting in the work. He's becoming a better boxer. Give him his credit at least. But KSI just refuses to accept that Jake Paul is probably a better boxer than him. So let's see this interaction between Logan and Jake and see how Jake responds to this entire KSI situation.
That KSI speed fight, dude, that was planned at the exact same time as your card.
Did that happen?
Yeah.
They actually did it?
Yeah.
Damn.
At the exact same time as your card. Do you think that was pure coincidence?
Nope.
Absolutely not. Obviously not.
He also wasn't super impressed with your knockout.
As always.
Of course, yeah. I mean, he does everything he can to discredit me.
Fuck.
Like, of course.
Sorry, dude. Because we need clips. Stop.
Of course.
Logan's best mates and business partners with KSI, and Mike has just brought up this KSI and Jake Paul beef, so it just makes it awkward for Logan.
Of course.
Just sit there and let him talk.
Wait a second. Okay.
But they need clips.
Did he say that?
Yeah, there was a clip of him talking after the fight. I could pull it up and get this out.
Bro,
Yeah, so KSI has discredited Jake Paul's KO over Andre August. But KSI is letting himself down here. KSI should just admit, yeah, it was a decent knockout, it was good, Jake's looking better. By constantly trying to discredit Jake Paul, it's going to make him lose fans. Because at the moment, if anything, Jake Paul's gaining fans. And the fact that KSI is constantly taking shots at Jake Paul, all that crossover fan base are going to start disliking KSI and siding with Jake Paul instead.
You can't not be impressed. Like, come on.
Let me find it.
Yeah, like what more could I have possibly done? Like,
What?
But that's why he's losing fans, though. Because he is. No, like, genuinely, he's losing fans. Like, people are like, bro, like...
No, he can't be, bro.
He is.
Well, what then? Who's going to buy Prime?
Bro, you're the one that carried it.
I'm just kidding.
You're the one that carried it the whole way anyways.
No, you can't say something like that.
Just a quick thought popped into my head. Imagine if KSI eventually steps down from Prime and Jake Paul goes into business with Logan. As brothers, it should be you two going into business. I always wished I had a brother because I believe it's one of the strongest relationships that a man can have. And it's a shame when you see two brothers who don't really get along or who are on different paths.
That's not true.
That's Jake. That's not true.
Regardless. I told you
obviously, all right, if you have millions of fans and you lose, like, if you're starting to lose some, like, there's still millions of fans, but people are like, yo, this is, like, inauthentic anymore. You're just trying to, like, take away from this kid, and, like, you're just clearly saying this shit, and you're 30 years old and acting like this with your ego and making everything about discrediting this person. It's like, all right, dude, you know, grow up. I feel bad for him. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, like, not saying it in a talking shit way, I feel bad for him. I think he's a sorry, miserable, insecure, unhappy person.
He's not.
Jake Paul's so right about people want authenticity these days. People don't want fakeness anymore. They see through it. And KSI, although I haven't really got like a personal gripe with him, I'm not a fan of him. Okay, I done that video a couple of weeks ago saying I was wrong about KSI, talking about how that Tommy Fury fight was a lot closer than I initially thought when I was there live watching it. But KSI isn't really doing much to win me round as a fan, whereas Jake Paul is. By KSI constantly discrediting Jake Paul, getting these knockouts, it does come across as a little bit inauthentic.
I think he is deep down. And you know better than everyone, bro, that anyone can put on a facade and go about their lives and be in a terrible spot in a terrible position.
True.
And just like you were pushing through the Japan moments, but still were podcasting and vlogging, but deep down you were hurting and struggling.
Yeah. Just in case you don't know what Jake means there by Japan moments is Logan Paul done a vlog where he went to this forest called Forest, and he literally filmed someone who was hanging from a tree and then put that person in the thumbnail, and a lot of people turned against him after that. So that's what Jake Paul's on about there, saying those Japan moments.
He could be as happy and joyful and be around you and for 2 or 3 days when you guys hang out for commercials, but he might go back to his thing. And I'm pretty sure, bro, he's just like, to be that insecure and miserable at 30 years old to try and do these things, like
can I play this real
it's
quick?
sad. It's genuinely sad.
Can I just play this?
I will say as well, I didn't realize KSI was 30. Yeah, he is confirmed. In all honesty, I thought he was like mid-20s because he does kind of come across a little bit immature, but he actually looks like he's 37. I know this is mad to say, but who comes across like the more mature person? Jake Paul or KSI? I think I'm going to say Jake Paul. Right, so Mike pulls up the clip of KSI talking about Jake Paul's knockout on the weekend.
I don't get out of context here.
Shocked? No. Like, we all know that Jake just looks for super easy fights, and he fought a cab driver this time. So, yeah, it is what it is. I don't really care about him. I didn't even know he was fighting. I didn't even know he was fighting at the same time as me, so... Yeah, I'm shocked.
First off, come on, KSI. Of course you knew you was fighting at the same time as him. You put on that charity fight with ISO Speed at the exact same time as Jake Paul was fighting, and you said you didn't even realise he was fighting. Come on. All these lads are operating in the same space. KSI is business partners with Jake Paul's brother, and KSI didn't even accidentally hear that Jake Paul was fighting that weekend. Come on, KSI. That is a lie.
Yo,
it's such a lie. He's just a fucking liar. And people in this day and age respect authenticity more than anything. And we all know that it's
what I said.
Complete bullshit. A cab driver who's been doing it his whole entire life. 3 times Golden Gloves champion. And it's just like,
does he drive a cab though?
Is that true? Is any of that true?
No.
No. That's actually.
He might have to.
If there's no truth to the cab driver claim, then him saying that's actually kind of funny. That's a ridiculous thing to say.
That's like it's
not really.
It's a thing in boxing that people say about fighters. That's like a thing,
like a bag of milk, like that. So so I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't care about influencer boxing anymore. I am only invested in your rise. I personally believe that influencer boxing has seen its day. I don't care anymore. I don't care about any of the fights. This is just me personally. I'm sure there are some people out there who do. Your ability to break out and to now try to make a run for it in a solidified and credible manner it interests me and intrigues me.
The problem with influencer boxing is it's highly dependent on the clout and the status of the individual and the popularity of the influencer rather than the talent and the skill of the fighter. And I know within the UFC and boxing, it's a similar sort of thing. The people with big personalities obviously have got a lot more eyeballs on them and people tune in a lot more for the big personalities like Conor McGregor, John Jones, Israel Adesanya. But still, people are tuning into those fights because they are the best of the best. They know that they're going to be tuning in to watch knockouts. They know they're going to be tuning in to watch good fights as well as having those personalities as a bonus. Influencer boxing doesn't operate on that. It's all about the personality. Then they get in the ring and they're like this and they can't even fight. I am 100% up for doing a Misfits card as long as I can get a good amount of training behind me. But is it a good long-term career decision, or is it a good way to prove that you can fight and prove yourself in front of everyone on the internet? Not really. It's just a bit of fun. It's a bit of a laugh. That's it. Has influencer boxing seen its day? I think it's going to continue and there's going to be interesting matchups. But I think it's going to be a long time before we see an event or a fight as big as the Tommy Fury and KSI and Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis fight card. I think really, if we're being honest, that was probably the peak.
If the Jake Paul KSI fight were to happen, I would watch that fight. After the knockout this past weekend, are you closer or further away from that fight ever happening?
Further, always further. He's not going to do it, and I've said it since the beginning of time. He wants to talk about everything except actual negotiations to make the fight happen. And the more serious I take it, the more scared he's going to get. And that's point blank, period.
I'm going to agree with that. I think if anyone doesn't want to fight, it's KSI. KSI's chatting crap all the time about Jake Paul, but you never hear him talk about actually wanting to fight. Whereas it sounds like every time Jake Paul talks, he wants to fight and he'll happily do it.
I need y'all to fight and then make up so you can join Prime. Like quickly.
You and him did it. You fought and then
well, that's what I'm saying.
It took a few years.
It's possible. It's possible. Like life has a weird way of shaping out, and who knows what could happen. You know?
I think Jake Paul would be open to squash the beef with KSI because he does come across a little bit more mature these days. I think it's KSI who would want to hold the grudge and not squash the beef. And maybe a reason for KSI not wanting to squash things is because he doesn't want Jake Paul to become a part of Prime. If I was KSI now and I was watching this, I'd be thinking, no, I don't want Jake to come in on Prime. So I don't want to squash anything. I want to keep it 50-50, me and Logan. Why would I want to slice the pie again with my rival, my arch nemesis?
I just don't think he's a good person.
Damn. No, I have to strongly disagree. You don't know him. And just like he doesn't know you. And I've said this before, bro, KSI is not JJ. In my head, those are like two different things. Two different entities. Like JJ the person is
he is very different.
Is not KSI the internet.
Not different, just not as animated.
Not nearly. It just I also think when and he knows this, when he is in KSI land, he can reach a level of confidence and power that I'm not sure like JJ, the FIFA gamer, would have. I believe, and I could be incorrect.
That's how a lot of these internet personalities are like. We even heard Jake Paul the other day when he was doing his training video on the build-up to his fight that he's just had. He was talking about how his alter ego is the problem child. You've got Jake Paul, then the problem child. You've got KSI, then you've got JJ. You've got Shaun Jones, the fitness head, the fighter. Then you've got Jonesy, the rapper, the music producer, the performer. A lot of people within this creator space have these little split personalities, and it allows you to separate the true you from the content. So then that way, when you're getting judged online, it doesn't really bother you because that person online is just a variation of you. It's almost like you're cloning yourself and putting them on the battlefield to take the brunt of everything, and you stay back protected in the trenches. That being said, you can still have two personalities and an alter ego, but at the core center of your personality, you're a dickhead. Not saying that's KSI, I'm just saying it doesn't really mean much. KSI, JJ, whoever he wants to call himself, he is being a little bit inauthentic by refusing to acknowledge that Jake Paul is becoming a better boxer.
Dude, you're really inspiring a lot of people.
Well, I think it's because the story is super relatable. And that's the goal with all of this, right? I think all these other athletes, it's like, oh, you're 6'8", you could jump 45 inches in the air. You were, gifted at birth. You've been doing it your whole life. Or even if they're small, it's like their dad was the basketball coach and made them do drills since they were 5 years old. And they're maybe only 5'10", but they've been doing it for 20 years, so they have the best handling.
5'10" gang.
This story is for the kids that maybe wake up one day and want to completely reinvent themselves to maybe become an athlete. Or whatever it is that they want to do in life that they didn't think was possible since they hadn't been doing it their whole life. And that is me with this story, showing up in the gym, looking like a fucking idiot, no muscle, off of Disney Channel. This kid's never going to, do anything in this sport. He'll never become anything, blah, blah, blah. To 3 years and 9 months later, being at the pinnacle and top of the sport and rising in skill level on a day-to-day basis to become world champion. And I think that is more powerful than any other sports story that I've seen because they're just not relatable.
Jake is spitting facts right there. If you go back and watch some of Jake's earlier sparring footage, he does look terrible, like anyone would who's never boxed before. So if anyone puts 3.5 years of training in and they make massive improvements, even if they're not setting up fights, I tip my hat to them and I show them respect. Jake's getting out there and putting himself in front of millions of people and fighting, okay, professional MMA fighters, although they're a little bit old, whatever, they're still good fighters. Now he's fought a couple professional boxers. He's putting the work in, and I also agree with him on that entire point about the fact that he's relatable. Okay, he might not be relatable in the fact that he was a Disney star and he had it all gifted to him and he was very lucky with the YouTube things. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about relatable in terms of physicality, coordination, athleticism. He didn't naturally have all that. It's something he's had to build upon. Okay, he's still 6'1", and he has actually got pretty decent genetics. We're not talking about someone who's like 5'6" here with tiny T-Rex arms and the most narrow shoulders in the world. He's got good genetics, and I do think that's why people are finding him more relatable, because he didn't have all of the attributes straight away, and he didn't start from a super young, early age. I have some of you lads in the comments and in my DMs say, Shaun, I'm 26, I want to start boxing, or I want to start kickboxing or Muay Thai or MMA. Is it too late? No, even if you was 45, 55, 65 and you was asking me, I'd say to you, yeah, get your ass to the gym and start now. Are you trying to be a world champion? Okay, maybe it's a little bit late, but it all depends on what your goal is with it. If you just want to do it to get fitter, get in good shape, be healthy, or challenge yourself, maybe you want to feel a little bit more capable in your physicality and know that you can defend yourself on the street, or maybe you do want to book a few amateur fights or just a few inter-club fights. Whatever your goal is with it, it doesn't matter. Just start. Get your ass into the gym. And as I said, what are we on now? We're on the 21st of December. Don't wait until the new year. Just get started now. I've got long COVID and I just started, 10 days ago, boxing. I am awful right now. I can barely breathe. My heart rate's 185 beats per minute from throwing a basic jab. What else am I doing? Sitting on the couch, waiting to get better. What are you doing? Sitting on the couch, watching a bit of telly, watching me chat shit on YouTube. Here's a challenge for some of yous out there. It's Thursday now. I guarantee there's going to be boxing or kickboxing or Muay Thai places that are open tomorrow, that are putting classes on tomorrow, maybe even Saturday. Get your ass down to one of those classes. Don't wait until after Christmas, and I promise you, you'll feel amazing for it. That's the video, guys. What did you think about this interaction with Logan and Jake Paul? Do you think KSI is being a bit inauthentic, not acknowledging Jake's improvements in boxing? And do you also think that KSI was really telling the truth when he said he didn't know that Jake Paul was fighting on the same day that him and I Show Speed were? Comment below, let me know your thoughts. If you need any help at the gym whatsoever, check out my free Natural Physique Academy down below. There's 12 free training programs in there. I've also got the full version of the program as well, where it's got over 100 exercise demonstrations, more training programs, meal plans, and all sorts. You can check that out as well if you actually want to make an investment. Make sure you like this video. Appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.